Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you love this watch, you can see it and you can purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. Today we're discussing a Breitling after my own heart. One of the, shall we say, less overstated, because there are really no understated modern Breitling watches. This is also a rare bird. It's the second generation Breitling Chronomat Blackbird. Launched in 2007, the watch on my 16cm circumference wrist is surprisingly wearable. It's not a small watch, but nor is it as large as a Breitling can get. And under the old regime, the Schneider family, 43.5, as you see here, was virtually a mid-size. It is a thick watch, 43.5 millimeters in diameter, but 17 millimeters thick. The watch makes up some lost ground from lug to lug, where it's 51.2 millimeters, and I would recommend it for a wrist as small as 14.5 centimeters circumference. Because of the broad 22 millimeter lug spacing, the watch looks proportional strapped to lugs, and it has a broad modern stance, the large lug spacing being a trait of modern watch design, and here it's present and well chosen. The strap, and this is true of all modern Breitlings, is more than you would expect given the price and positioning of the watch in the market. Instead of a typical aviation style calfskin, because this is an aviation style watch, you get alligator, tougher, longer lasting, and more expensive. Breitling watches always seem to come with a strap more substantial than you expect, and I hope that trend continues into the new Georges Kern CVC Capital Partners ownership and management. Black, large rectangular scale alligator leather, contrasting aviator style white stitch, lots of material used. You can see bolstered at its center and the sheer cut showing you the layers of construction with an opulent calfskin on the underside and a simple steel pin buckle. But one feature I do appreciate about Breitling pin buckles, they have an elevated bridge so that the strap sits inside the buckle when it's on the wrist rather than underneath, stacking up awkwardly. So attention to detail there, and actually on the case band as well. This is a large case. It's certainly anything but a thin watch. You will note, however, that its aspect ratio due to its broad lug-to-lug span is not excessively chunky. It doesn't look as thick as it is, nor is it squared off at its ends or sheer in its profile like a Rolex Supercase. It actually looks more like a giant Daytona than anything else, at least in case profile. The bezel is captive, which is to say it's fixed to the case using screws rather than simply snapped on as you'd see on an Omega, a Tag, or a Rolex. But normally when you see a captive bezel from the likes of Zinn or RGM, yep, RGM uses a captive bezel, it's normally 3 or 4 equally spaced screws. Here you have one screw for every hour of the bezel, fixing it to the case. That thing is going nowhere. Hit it against a door, hit it against drywall, hit it against a tree trunk, it's going nowhere. It is a bezel that you can use in conjunction with the shining sun to find north or south if you are in the northern or southern hemisphere, which is to say, though you have the rider tabs to allow grip with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands, it's a bidirectional rotating bezel, not a diving tool. That said, it does still have a luminescent pearl, so you can still use it for gauging approximate time elapsed. It's just not a dive watch, though it is 300 meters water resistant with screw-down crowns and pushers. The compass rose rather than the GMT 24-hour being etched into the bezel, and you'll note the cardinal points of the compass in the riders themselves. There's a flange that features a tachymeter. You can just barely see it outboard. The Rayhaut slopes down to a dial base that is matte black for anti-reflective qualities, and you can see there are sunken sub-registers for constant seconds, chronograph minutes, and chronograph hours. A faceted double date. The double date is the signature of this model. It's large enough so you don't need any kind of magnifier to see it, and Breitling thoughtfully used monotone black date discs so that it blends into the dial nicely. There's a handsome Cruciform symmetry here and higher spec material than you might have anticipated, as it uses all polished applique indices for the hours and an applique Breitling wing logo at 12 o'clock. Standard white on black print makes for high contrast, and note that everything from chronograph seconds down to constant seconds to the hours, minutes, chronograph hours, and chronograph minutes fully loomed. Screw down crown, you see the onion style chronomat crown. It has the chronomat style riders as well. Signatures of the line since 1983. On the caseback, Blackbird, indeed it is. Underneath the caseback, Breitling caliber 44. Automatic winding 42-hour power reserve. Features stop seconds. It has a quick set date as well for that oversized date. It has a 28 8-beat rate, or 8 beats per second, 4 hertz, water resistant to 300 meters. COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It is the works. It's got a little bit of everything. A movement, of course, based on an ETA In chronometer spec, it's exactly what you would expect in a watch like this. Precise and tank tough, well suited to the application. This is one of my favorite Breitling models, and a rare bird, as I mentioned, one I wish would fly my way more often. You can see it, and well, you can see it every day if you see it on our website and make it yours. Breitling Chronomat Blackbird. Note the fully loomed dial, every hand on the dial fully loomed, and the bezel pearl as well.